Hello out there, and welcome to the No Shit Cast. I'm your host, Matt Frazier. Woo, it's been a while, folks. Good to be back. Been on the road for freaking ever. It's been insane. And came home to pretty much a dead studio, so I've got a lot of work to do there. My power supply on my main mixing board that I actually use for the show is dead. My backup power supply that I've been using for the phantom power for the condenser mics is also dead, which is going to pose an interesting problem because we're right in the middle of actually recording some lyrics for a band that's been doing some work and using the studio to actually do some work. And now there's no way for us to do any work because the freaking mics are all dead. So got a new power supply ordered. So right now I'm working off of my third backup mic. So if it sounds a little different, I apologize. That's just because the mic I'm using is like I said, it's like my third backup mic. So we'll see how this goes. Going to try a little bit of a different format tonight, folks. I've been working on some stuff that I've been wanting to try on the show, and it's kind of just get some more content out there and sort of give you, I guess, a window into the dark recesses of my brain. But basically, what it is me just kind of reviewing some of the stuff that I read about and things like that have turned me on. No guests necessary. Doesn't mean that we're not going to do guests in the future. We're for sure going to continue to do guests, but this is keeping with the no part of no shit. I guess this is the shit that I look up and kind of turns me on, and sometimes I think it's funny, and this happens to be one of those occasions. So the first thing I'm going to talk to you about tonight, and this is the thing that kind of caught me off guard when I opened my news sources. Now, you understand this is all algorithmic, right? So this is the kind of stuff that I get in my news feed. Quote, Dolphin Clitoris study suggests marine mammals may experience sexual pleasure. This comes from The Independent. Josh Gabatis is the science correspondent's name, and he's called a science correspondent, so you know that this is some legit shit here. So an in-depth study of the dolphin clitoris has revealed that these marine creatures may belong to a small group of mammals that are known to experience sexual pleasure. So, who has this job is my first question, right? Who gets to study the sex lives of dolphins? Dolphins are known to have sex throughout the year, even at times when they are not capable of conceiving. So I guess that means they do it for fun. In other animals that do this, including humans, sex can be pleasurable for females due in large part to clitoral stimulation. Well, it's all about clitoral stimulation. This led the team of scientists to investigate the genital anatomy of dolphins to determine what enjoyment, if any, the females were getting out of year-round sex. So again, this begs the question: is when you went to college, did you? What are you going to do? I'm going to study the sex organs of marine mammals. I just feel bad for the person that has to do this for like sperm whales. I mean, what the hell is that going to look like? I don't even want to think about it. But anyway, so like I said, this is kind of the crazy shit that comes up on my news feed. Another one that I thought was really hilarious is this one comes out of Madrid, Spain. This is from Gizmodo. Jennings Brown writes, if you need another reason to advocate for the legalization of marijuana, a new study shows why weed sold illegally on the street is more likely to have unacceptable levels of feces in it. That's right, folks, poop pot. Scientists at the university, Universidad Complutense, or something like that. It's in Madrid, gathered 90 samples of cannabis from the street dealers in and around Madrid, then tested the product to determine if they were suitable for human consumption. The results published in the latest issue of Forensic Science International found that 83% of the tested samples were not suitable because they had too much, and I quote, shit in them. Specifically, the samples had traces of Aspergillus fungus and E. coli bacteria. I might be murdering that, but the researchers deemed that the shit weed a public health issue. Yeah, you think? After buying the weed, the research team split it all into two groups based on the shape of the package the drugs were sold in. What the hell does that matter? Packages in an acorn shaped and packages shaped like a block. The study showed that 29.4% of the block-shaped samples had traces of feces, while 93% of the acorn-shaped samples had traces of feces. Well, I guess the moral of this story, folks, is if you're going to buy weed, make sure you buy it block-shaped. Otherwise, you might be smoking somebody's shit, and that could just be really weird. In other news, one of the big things I'm turned on by a lot is I talk a lot about graphene, which is a carbon-based super material. It's really cool shit. Although they've been really struggling getting it mass produced, but this comes from MIT Technology Review, so this ought to be a snoozer. But again, they're talking about a new substance called borophene. So the article says, "Sorry, graphene. Borophene is the new wonder material that's got everyone excited. Stronger, more flexible than graphene, a single atom layer of boron could revolutionize sensors, batteries, and catalytic chemistry. Not so long ago, graphene was the great new wonder material, a super strong atom, thick sheet of carbon, chicken wire. It can form tubes, balls, and other curious shapes. Because it conducts electricity, materials scientists raised the prospect of a new era of graphene-based computer processing and a lucrative graphene chip industry to boot. The European Union invested $1 billion, well, EU, whatever that little C-looking thing is, to kickstart a graphene industry. This brave new graphene-based world has yet to materialize, but it has triggered an interest in other two-dimensional materials, and most exciting of all is borophene, a single layer of boron atoms that form various crystalline structures. So basically, this is a new super material. Again, it's going to be working like graphene does, and it's at the atomic level. But it says this exotic substance wasn't synthesized until 2015 using chemical vapor deposition. That's just a process for making shit. This is a process in which, here it's going to tell you, which a hot gas of boron atoms condenses onto a cool surface of pure silver. The regular arrangement of silver atoms forces boron atoms into similar pattern, each binding to as many as 6 other atoms to create a flat hexagonal structure. However, a significant portion of boron atoms bind only with 4 or 5 other atoms, and this creates vacancies in the structure. The pattern of vacancies is what gives borophene crystals their unique properties. So, if you guys don't know much, I mean, this graphene shit is like crazy. It's crazy strong, like insane strong, like Star Trek, level shit. And this is kind of what they're saying here is there's a science now that's kind of working in the same space, but with a different material. So you can make the same thing. It's just as durable, but now is also flexible. So that's got some tremendous potential in material science. Blah, blah, blah. Like I said, this shit turns me on. It's probably boring the crap out of you. So I apologize for that. But what else we got here? Let's see. Cheap and mobile filter makes wastewater drinkable in droughts. That's from Australia. Imagine that. Physicist stuffed a ghostly something or other. Who gives a shit? Here's a big one. This came out this weekend. Scientists set to unveil first picture of black hole. I'm not talking about your last relationship. All of the forces of objects in the universe that we cannot see. This comes from, what the hell is this from? Marlowe Hood is the author's name. Scientist Magazine or something like that. Scientists across the globe will hold 6 major press conferences simultaneously to announce the first results of the Event Horizon Telescope, which was designed precisely for that purpose. It has been a long wait. Of all the forces or objects in the universe that we cannot see, including dark energy and dark matter, none has frustrated human curiosity so much as the invisible mauls that shred and swallow stars like so many specks of dust. Again, still not talking about your last relationship. So, astronomers began speculating about these omnivorous dark stars in the 1700s, and since then, directed evidence has slowly accumulated. That's right. It's one of the things that Sherfu is always talking about, is that we think that we know what black holes are, but there's still a lot of speculation. Like, we're really not sure what the hell these things are, but we know they're super powerful, and they do some amazing shit, like bend laws of physics and stuff like that. So it looks like there's a new imagery, which I don't know how you take a picture of something that consumes all energy, including light, in its gravitational pull. So But this, of course, the article was saying that they're going to be looking at the event horizon, which is sort of that spot right before it goes into oblivion. So maybe they came up with a new way. It'd be cool. It's supposed to be coming out this week. I know there's some other shit going on, like all the GPS satellites reset this weekend. So if your GPS started kind of freaking out, don't panic. They'll get that straightened out. There's a bunch of shit going on now with Elon Musk. There's been a ton of stuff happening with his SpaceX company, working on different fuels and all kinds of things like that. But the big heavy rocket is the Falcon Heavy is getting ready to launch again. It'll be the second flight for that. That's going to be big news. I can't wait to see that. That'll be exciting as shit to watch. And I just love watching that damn things after they, shoot a satellite into orbit or whatever, then come back and land on a rocket pad. It's just so interesting to watch that kind of stuff happen. It just boggles my mind that they can even do that. But Elon Musk is a freak of nature, and what are you gonna do? It's just the guy can just do whatever the hell he wants. Microsoft changes Windows. Some big changes coming in Microsoft Windows. Let's see here. Why can't Caitlin? It's a dude. Caitlin Campanu. This is from ZDNet, but Microsoft changes how Windows 10 disconnects USB storage devices. USB storage devices will be easier to remove, but will become slower. Yeah, well, fucking thanks for that. Until now, the default policy in all previous Windows versions when disconnecting a USB storage device was the better performance setting. Starting with Windows 10 version 1809, this became quick removal. The difference between the two is significant. Better performance means that Windows manages data transfers and storage operations in a manner that improves performance. This includes caching data while it's being da-da-da-da. The constant readiness on Windows part meant that any user who wanted to disconnect a USB or Thunderbolt connected storage device had to go through the safe removal. Who the fuck does that? You're a sick individual, I'll tell you, if you don't just grab a USB stick and pull it out of a computer. I mean, who the fuck actually goes through and does the safe removal thing? Nobody. Probably not a bad idea. It's probably why I have so many computer and tech equipment problems, because I don't care. And then the shit dies. Let's see. Netflix confirms it killed AirPlay support. This comes from The Verge. And it's Sean Hollister. Netflix confirms it killed AirPlay support. Won't let you beam shows to Apple TVs anymore. I'm still one of those guys that's still using a Roku, so that doesn't really affect me too much. But just so you know, it pulled the wireless casting feature this past week due to what it is calling a technical limitation, but it's not the kind of technical limitation you'd think. You'd see Apple recently partnered with most of the major TV brands to allow AirPlay to send shows directly to their 2019 TV sets with a firmware update later this year, but a Netflix spokesperson tells me AirPlay 2 doesn't have digital identifiers to let Netflix tell those TVs apart. And so the company can't certify its users are getting the best Netflix experience when casting to those sets. So now it's throwing out the baby with the bathwater and pulling the plug on AirPlay, period. We can't distinguish which device is which. We can't actually certify the device. So we had to just shut down support for it. So I don't know if you guys do this much, but you can use your iDevice to sort of use AirPlay and send it to it's kind of like, I don't know, client-server type shit, but it was kind of handy because you could just kind of throw stuff from your phone or from your iPad up onto your TV if you wanted to show somebody something, like your wife or whatever, if you have one of those. And it looks like they're just going to kind of shut that all down instead of, rather than give a poor experience, they'll just give nobody any experience at all. Thanks, Netflix. That's awesome. Falcon Heavy's first real launch on Sunday is the dawn of a new heavy lift era in space. Speaking of my homeboy Elon Musk, the Falcon Heavy has flown before. This comes from TC. David Coldewey. 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 But now it's got a physical payload that matters and competitors nipping at its heels. It's the first of a new generation of launch vehicles that can take huge payloads to space cheaply and frequently, opening up a new frontier in the space race. Watch it lift off Sunday afternoon. We'll post a reminder if you guys want to check any of these out, they put them on Facebook or on YouTube too. And if you want to get like a real geek out moment, you probably don't, but I do. And I watch these things because they're just freaking cool as shit. On the 7th, that's Sunday, Falcon Heavy will fly for the first time since its inaugural test last February, delivering the now infamous Tesla Roadster and Starman into a trajectory that has taken them past Mars. That successful launch garnered SpaceX its first customer for the system. And Sunday's launch will take Arabsat 6A, a Lockheed-built communications satellite, into geosynchronous orbit. Basically, they're going to take a big rock and put it in space. So they static fired it and tested it and blah, 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 and everything looks good. So Sunday we should see a rocket launch. That'll be really cool. So looking forward to that. So I think that about wraps it up here, folks. This is kind of Matt's News Day in Review. Appreciate you listening. Thanks for all the downloads and everything out there, folks, and especially the likes and subscribes. Keep it up. The podcast continues to grow, even though I haven't been around much, and I'm working on that. But thank you again for listening, and hope to catch you all next time. Take it easy. Bicycles.